Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and anything you can do about it. Today with Coffee with Curry, I'm excited. You've heard me talk many times about the person who unseated the Speaker of the House here in Delaware. Well, today she's finally found some time in her schedule to come and be with us, and I'm looking forward to it. There's many aspects to her life that I'm just excited about. She's a Delta. I'm excited about it. For those of you AKs who keep trying to come on the show, now I'm going to be in my comfort zone. We also got a young lady who really decided I'm not going to allow status quo to get in the way of what I plan to do. I'm looking forward to this interview. Why don't you call somebody real quickly? Tell them Coffee with Curry is on, and let's get after it.
Good morning, Delaware and surrounding areas. You are now tuned in to this week's Coffee with Curry. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. with new guests every week. So grab your cup of coffee and join us on Coffee with Curry.
And we're back. Well, I am excited. I didn't say it in my opening, but I'm going to say it now. You know, Representative Smith is with us today, and she honored me by coming in the greatest colors in the world, and that's that purple with touches of gold. She knew what place she was going in, just like every good Delta I know. Y'all know how to make it work.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the Coffee with Curry show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
The first thing, before we even talk about family, I want to talk about the producers of the show. When they contacted you, you thought you were going to go out and have a cup of coffee with me. I said, wow, I think I may need to get her some coffee for real. But I thought that was just wonderful. But you still agreed to come, and I appreciate your humility, and I appreciate who you are. Before we get started in the little interview we want to do today, I really want to talk about you. I want to talk a little bit about your family. And so people who are watching us and want to know, why did he support her to the level? It was a full circle of things. Mm-hmm. But let's talk a little bit about your rearing, where you're from, and things of that nature.
Sure. I'm originally from Philadelphia.
Oh.
Yep, born and raised.
Okay.
In Philadelphia. My father was in the military. He was in the branch of Army, the Army branch of military. So we traveled quite a bit until he left the military when I was a teenager. So that's when we went back to Philadelphia and came up in the Philadelphia public school system.
Now, what part of Philadelphia are you from?
West Philadelphia.
Oh, you're from West Philadelphia, because you're from North Philadelphia.
Okay.
And we didn't like y'all too much on the west side of this town. But
I wore my purple.
Yeah, and that's why I'm still with you 100%, 100%. But I'm sorry, but that was good. Okay.
Yeah. So raised in West Philadelphia, went through the public school system. Yes. And then I transitioned to college. I went to Overbrook High School.
Oh, you went to Overbrook?
Yep, I did. Will Smith. Okay. Yeah. So as I was coming in, Will Smith was coming out. So I had 1 year of overlap in school with Will. And then I transitioned and went to the University of Pittsburgh, Johnstown campus. So I went to a PWI. Yeah. And then graduated with a degree in sociology.
Okay.
So from graduation from high school, I was in public service.
And for those who are watching us, you heard us say PWI. I just want to make sure you know that's a predominantly white institution, and that's all. It's because, you know, those of you who watch me all the time, I'm always talking about HBCUs. but she pledged right, so everything is good. Everything is good. But okay.
So graduated with a degree in sociology, and then went into human services. Okay, so did a lot of social service work, work with intellectual disabilities. Then worked with aging population. I have worked with mental health for the majority of my career. I am married to my partner, my lifelong dance partner. His name is Mark. He's wonderful. He is like my rock. We will be married for 20 years.
Wow.
Next
20 years.
20 years.
Wow. You don't look to be 20. That's awesome.
I'll take it.
Okay.
We have 5 children. We are a blended.
5? No wonder he's your dance partner. Excuse me. I'm so sorry, but wow, 5.
Yes, we are beautifully blended, fearfully and wonderfully blended.
Okay.
Our children are all doing great things in life. They are making their mark on the world. They support me 100%. I currently work for a health system. Yeah. So I'm doing work that helps people that are impacted by social drivers of health. So whether that be finances, housing, food, workforce practices, all of those things. So that's the work that I'm doing right now.
Wow.
I attend Seeds of Greatness Bible Church.
Okay, excellent. Jerome.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Jerome
Excellent.
Lewis is my pastor, my mentor. I am heavily involved in my church.
Excellent.
I am a leader in my church. I am part of the illustrious Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I have been a member of Delta Sigma Theta since 2018. I am part of the Perfect Storm line. So we are out here making differences and impacting lives. So that is who I am.
Yes. Well, you unpacked a whole lot there, from your faith to your family, and this is just awesome. 5 children. That's where I'm gonna start unpacking.
Okay, let's do it.
5 children, and the age is about the range.
So we range from our oldest son is 29.
Okay.
He's in his last year of his 20s, and then our youngest is 21.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes. So you all have done well.
We have done well.
And they've been able to do the things they needed to do.
Yes, we have done blending well, so well that I wrote a book about it. So I'm also an author.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that real quick.
So I have a book that's called A Heart That Forgives. And it just goes to tell the story of our blended experience and how we blended our family and how we went through some struggles in blending our family and how it's like making a cake, right? Like you have to blend the cake in order for the cake to bake, right? So we did that. And I think that we did that well. We're still blending, right? Now we have a grandchild, and that's still part of our blended family. So we will, for generations to come, we will be blending. So my husband and I had to be the example of that. And of course, everything, as you know, was led by God. So whatever he says do is what I do. So I wrote the book. I'm also an author of a second book. I did a book with my niece. My niece is 8 years old. She saw that I wrote a book and she had questions about that. So I said, it sounds like you want to write a book too. You're asking so many questions. Let's just do it. So her mother and father would bring her to my house and we would just start drafting the book. And she brought her vision to life of what she wanted that to look like. And we published it. So we published the book. It's called My Hair Day. It's on Amazon by Skylar Robinson. So more books to come. Yeah.
Now let's go to the first one. Then we'll come to the second one.
Okay.
Now, can we purchase that first book?
Yes.
Tell us how we can do that.
Yep. It's on Amazon. It's called A Heart That Forgives by Kamela Smith.
Okay. I'm not surprised, given that you have certainly committed your life to service.
Yes.
And you're well educated, but I did not know, out of all of my research, I didn't know you wrote a book. I'm going to get that book and we're going to invite you back so that I can have read it and been able to give some strong questions regarding that, because this is just awesome. And there are so many families who are struggling to stay together, to mash, to be able to blend together their past as well as into their present.
It's not easy.
Right.
But it's not impossible.
Absolutely.
So,
and you write about that.
I write about that.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to that. For those of you watching, please, let's get that book. Let's get it to a place where it's sold out, because I think this is going to be something great. And you're going to see on the screen very, very shortly all of the details of how you can purchase that book. I'm going to purchase it. And after I've read it, then I have a litany of ministers here. And we always talk about it, but I'm definitely going to call you back in just to talk about that. So you have many different hats.
Yes.
I can bring you in as a preacher. I can bring you in as a teacher. I can bring you in as a state rep. There's so many. Oh, wow. This is just awesome, sister of Delta Sigma Theta. Let's talk about your niece who decided to ask a plethora of questions and ended up producing a book. How did that go?
So she asked, like you said, she asked so many questions, and to me it sounded like she was so inquisitive. So if you're so inquisitive, just let's do it. Let's do it. And I think that's something that we need to do with our youth more. More. We need to do that more, because we could be cultivating something so great, right? Like, so if we see something great in them, we have to cultivate that. We have to rub that thing and make sure that thing comes to life. So that's what we did with her. And I don't think that she knew that it would come alive. So I have video of her getting the book, like, when it came to print, and just her excitement to see something that she thought about come alive.
Yes.
That's all worth it.
Yes.
It's all worth it. She was also on my campaign. She was part of my campaign team. She did a lot of knocking on doors, and she started to understand what campaigning was. So who knows? She might be the next president. She might be the next state representative. We don't know.
And she has a great example.
Yes,
and we're not
about
talking
us
about people
cultivating
on the
our
national
kids.
level, but right in the family.
Yeah, it's about us making sure that when we see the greatness in our kids, that we pull that out.
Excellent. And I think that's really good. And now I can see why so many people in my development in other places were very much pro you because they felt that you had that human touch. And I think that's good. We're going to talk about that in the next segment.
Okay.
But I'm enjoying the fact that how you've brought to life things that we don't even think about, from the blended family to even your niece who wanted to ask 1,000 questions, and then it became a reality of her own. She'll be able to share that for the rest of her life. She'll share with her children. This is good legacy. Now let's talk. You did talk a little bit about your father being in the military.
Yes.
How about mom?
Mom was in banking.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a mortgage underwriter.
Oh, so you really lived in Winfield, right? Or did you really live in West Philly?
I lived in West Philly.
West Philly.
46 in Haverford.
Okay, that's West Philly. but it's funny because when you start talking about military and banker, that's more that middle class group. And my aunt lived in Winfield because that's somewhat similar to her style.
You are absolutely right.
But this is awesome. And then you decide to go on to college. You went to the University of Pittsburgh.
I did.
And tell me a little bit about some of the things you did while you were there. Going to, and because I'm a little biased, with the HBCU, and I know my daughter, she only got one HBCU on her list, and she all the rest of them are not. But there were obviously there was some making that occurred.
Yeah, there was, and I will tell you, if I had to live that over again, I would have went to an HBCU. But I didn't have exposure to HBCU, right? Like, so
that's that West Philly, y'all.
Yeah, I didn't have exposure to it, so I didn't even know that acronym HBCU, right? Like when I was in high school, I knew that I wanted to go to the University of Pittsburgh. Like I knew that, and that's what I was exposed to. So to me, life is about exposure, right? Like, so when you're exposed to something, you're more likely to reach out and touch that thing because you've been exposed to it. But I went to the University of Pittsburgh. I had a great experience, a great college experience. I was able to integrate with so many different types of people. So I think that I needed that in my life at that time. HBCU is still on my plate though. I'm going to do an HBCU. I'm going to do an HBCU. But I will tell you, when I went to the University of Pittsburgh, prior to that, I have a cousin who was a Delta.
Okay.
And she always was influential to me. I always saw her as this regal, like get it done type of woman, right? So I always
like all Deltas are.
Like all Deltas are, right? So I had my eye on her. Like I kept my eye on her. And when I got to the university, we didn't have any sororities or fraternities that looked like us. So there was a group of us, and we tried. We tried to get a chapter on that campus, and we tried until we were finished. We could not get that chapter, but I still had that desire to be a Delta. So after I graduated, after I lived life a little bit, then I pursued Delta again and pledged grad chapter.
Excellent.
Yeah.
As I sit and listen to you, even though you may not have been exposed to it, there was a purpose for why you weren't, and also that you went the route you went, because it built some of that determination of that we're going to get it done. There's very few things I'm willing to guarantee in this conversation that you have not gotten off your bucket list, because you really do believe in getting it done. Excellent. This is awesome. Now, the last thing I want to do in this segment is, as we've talked about you mentioned your church life. All too often, a lot of people are members of a church. They're hardly ever there. They're not seen. But you made a comment, and it struck in me when you said it. Very active in my church.
Yes.
And in other words, those who understand people being active, you're very active in your faith.
Yes, I am.
Which leads you and pushes you to be very active in your church. Tell me a little about some of the things you do in your church.
Sure. So I co-lead our host and hostess ministry. So when you come into the doors of Seeds of Greatness, I'm one of those people that are standing there welcoming you in, saying good morning, making sure that you feel comfortable, making sure that you have that welcome home experience when you come in. I lead a team of over 100 with my co-director, who's Star. Her name is Star Lumpkin. So she and I co-lead that ministry, and we've been doing that for well over 13 to 15 years. We've been leading that ministry. Very involved in the church, very vocal in the church. our leaders, Pastor Jerome and Sister Lisa, they lean on us as far as what happens on the parameter of the church. We don't do the inside of the sanctuary. That's the usher's role, right? Like, so we're very vocal about stay in your lane, and our lane is the parameter of the church, right?
Absolutely.
And then the ushers do the inside of the church. So I think that we keep the flow going when it comes to how people feel when they come into the ministry.
Yeah.
We look at ourselves as ministers because we are ministering hope. We're ministering so many things. In addition to co-leading the host and hostess ministry, I am one of the facilitators for a work group which is called Keys to Freedom. And that's for women who have lost their way in some type of way or who need help. They may have suffered from some things that have happened throughout their life. So Mercy Ministries is outside of Nashville, and they have a curriculum that helps women to get to their greatness, right? Like helping women to get to their freedom. We know that freedom is not a destination, right. It's a journey, right? Like, so we try to get them to on that journey to freedom. So I'll co-lead that ministry as well. Very involved.
Yes.
Involved.
And you found time to still run.
Yeah, still found time
and you finding time to help people outside of that ministry, because your ministry is the ministry of help.
It's the ministry of help.
And it's just awesome.
That's
just
it,
awesome.
Pastor.
And I'm sitting and I'm listening to you as you're really framing the truth of your life. And again, I had not met you, but had heard so many wonderful things about you. One of the people who really introduced you to me was Sherry Dorsey, and she said to me, "She's your sorrow." She's an AKA. Yep. We forgive her for that.
Yes.
But she shared with me. She said, "You really need to get to know her because she's a good person." This is before you even you just had announced at that point.
Yep.
And she knew that I was very displeased with the representative that is in my district. That was in my district. And she said, "There's a person that's rising up and we believe she's going to be good." And I said, "Well, I need to meet her," but I didn't get a chance to. I got overwhelmed with a lot of other stuff, but I did endorse you without having to be in your face.
Yes.
When your people came to my door, I didn't put my sign out at that moment, but it came out right after that.
Yes.
And it's just been a wonderful journey to watch what you did. So what we're going to do is, as soon as we come from this commercial break, we're going to really talk a little bit about how a person with very little influence could unseat the Speaker of a House. That's just unbelievable. We'll be right back.
Join us live for our weekly worship. Every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube.
Well, Pastor, I'm doing the best I can, but I still gotta have a little Chardonnay, and I still gotta have a little this, and I gotta still sneak around. The devil is a liar. That's an excuse.
Wilmington's most exciting church.
How you doing, community? I'm Alexander Hackett, and I'm here today to talk about Community Staffing Agency. I am the owner of an educational staffing firm, and what we do is we staff all the schools in Delaware with substitute teachers, paraprofessionals, janitorial, and even substitute nurse. So if you have a school and you need our services, please contact me. But also, if you're in the community right now and you're looking for a job, please find me. And the way you can find me is by visiting communitystaffingagency.com, but also get into my direct line, 302-252-8982. Please contact me, please reach out. If you need assistance with your school or if you're looking to get into school, Community Staffing Agency is the place to be.
Local news and politics in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. The latest headlines with your host, Dr. C.T. Curry.
But they getting rich, getting new cars, getting new houses, getting new opportunities, but the community is still getting nothing.
And co-host Kobe Owens.
And from that time, we have slowly seen our democracy become under attack.
Weekly episodes. Sundays at 5 p.m. The Source.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
This land we love belongs to all of us. Yet not everyone is treated equally. Right now, millions of Americans are fighting for the things promised to all by the Constitution. Freedom, justice, equality. The ACLU is leading the fight to protect our civil liberties. Together, we can protect and advance our rights nationwide, because we the people means all of us.
This land was made for you and me.
Learn how the ACLU is defending the right to vote, free speech, and other civil liberties at myaclu.org.
As a mom, I want my kids' lives to be filled with joy and possibility. And I want that for every kid. That's why I support No Kid Hungry. They work in schools and communities to make sure every kid gets the healthy meals they need. Please join me in supporting No Kid Hungry for all kids.
Thank you.
And we're back. Great conversation thus far. It was worth the wait. I mean, I've been trying my best to make sure I get in contact or get connected to our state representative before even she became a representative, but she was so busy out on the trail doing so many wonderful things. And I personally made sure that I was going to support her because there was just so many things going on. But before I get into those things, how did you do it?
Man, I want to start first by saying that I only ran because God told me to.
Okay, good.
That's why I did it. That was the primary reason why I did it. I went through a fellowship with the Metropolitan Urban League, the Gilliam Fellowship.
Yes.
And when I was going through the Gilliam Fellowship, I was influenced. So I would sit there week after week, and I would see people that would come in and talk to us, and they were doing some stuff. Mm-hmm. And I would sit there and say, why am I not? And I was doing things, mm-hmm. but I didn't feel like I was doing enough. Mm-hmm. I was doing a lot of complaining, mm-hmm. but not doing a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So I just had this revelation knowledge that it was time for me to do something. So I kind of put my eyes on it. I thought about it, prayed about it. And as God told me that that was what he wanted me to do, I started to pursue it. Mm-hmm. I started to get some understanding of what that would look like. So when you ask the question, how did I do it? I know that I did it through his grace. I know that. I know that for sure. And I will tell you this in all honesty. I did not expect to win. Right? I thought I was doing an assignment. And I thought that my assignment was to raise the standard. That's what I thought my assignment was. Mm-hmm. But of course, when we think something, that's right. It's bigger.
Yeah. But in actuality, I like everything you shared as a pastor, if you don't mind me just sharing this part. I agree. You didn't know what God was going to do. I did not know. But one thing you did know is he wanted the standard raised.
Yes.
We've been taken for granted as people in general, mm-hmm. by people who are elected. Mm-hmm. You've watched some of this stuff and God was speaking to you. Raise the standard.
Raise the standard.
Now, because you said yes, now this was Sunday's sermon. So for those of you watching and saw the services of last week, because you said yes, then God decided, I'm going to give you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you what I want done now.
Yes.
Because there are many people who he's shared that with who said, no, this is too much. This is too big. This is not me. Yeah. But you said yes.
And I would be lying if I told you that I didn't have doubt.
Yeah.
I did, right? Like I did have doubt. But my yes mm-hmm. was more important than my doubt, right? Yes. So I had to do what he told me to do. Mm-hmm. Afraid, mm-hmm. Unassuming, like unaware. This race was big, right? It was big. But I think I was so surrounded by him that I didn't know that it was so big while I was in it. I didn't know it was big until I came out of it.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Excellent.
So I was just doing what he told me to do. And I think because I was doing what he told me to do, that's why I had so much grace. And that's why I didn't feel, and I hope that people don't take offense to this, I didn't feel heaviness. I felt like I was doing what he told me to do. Right. So every step of the way, I did what he told me to do. I went where he told me to go. I went to every door that he told me to go to. I purposely canvassed by myself. Like I had teams that were out there. They might have been on the other side of the development, but I walked those doors by myself. And it's because I prayed for every door. I pray for every development that I went through. I pray for every street that I went through. Because even if I did not get the seat, I still had an obligation by him to raise the standard. So I walked through those streets with no fear, with nothing, because I knew what he told me to do.
Wow.
So how did I win? That's how I won. And I made sure that I talked to every person. I made sure that I had a human experience with every person. I made sure that I sent out thank you notes for people who sent money to me, because that was a sacrifice to people, right? Like, so if people sacrifice their money to me, then I owe them a thank you. I owe them some gratitude. So I sent out thank you notes to people who sent things to me. I made sure that I stayed connected to people who wanted to stay connected to me. And I know that there was a margin between the Speaker of the House and me when it came to the win. And I know that there are some people out there who supported her, right? Like, I know that. Yes. And that's reality. But as your state representative, I still support you.
That's right.
I'm still out here representing
That's the God in you.
Yeah, it's the God in me. And above all, I represent him, right? Like, so when I'm out here and I'm doing things, I'm representing him. I have no disrespect to anyone else's beliefs. I have no disrespect to how anyone else shows up in life, but I have to do what he tells me to do.
Absolutely.
And that's what I did. I did what he told me to do. I knocked on those doors. I canvassed. Not only did I have a campaign team, I had a prayer team. So I had a group of people that were praying for me behind the scenes for me to be able to do what it is that I had to do, because I knew that I was going into the lion's den. I knew that that's what I was doing. I knew it, but I had such confidence in him that I would be able to come out. And I wouldn't smell like anything. I wouldn't be bitten up. I just knew that I would come out.
Yeah.
I really trusted that. Yeah. But again, I will be lying if I told you that I didn't doubt.
Yeah, and that's all right, because doubting but still giving a yes is all he asks for. Because at the end of the day, you're human. Yeah. And for those of you who may not, I don't know which camera, for those of you who may not kind of understand, you know, that was a huge risk to take that she took by just listening to God, you know, and that's where the doubt comes in. At are you sure, Lord, that you want me to do this?
You know how many times I said, are you sure?
Yes, you know, yes, of all people, you know, but you said yes, and people may not know, but on the financial side, you at a disadvantage.
Yes, I was.
I said that on my show. I said I don't care. I know financially. She had not spent a lot of your opponent did not spend a lot of the money that they had, because they didn't campaign that hard the last time. Yep. All of a sudden, now all the forces has to come just to defend a seat. Yes. And we talk about raising a standard. I'm listening to all of it as we go on, and you were supposed to lose. You know, by all the data, you're supposed to lose. But you gave some strong, helpful hints for somebody who might want to just trust God. Yep. And that is, you do what he tell you to do, knocking on doors. Yep. When I showed her, can I just tell this story? It was funny, because we had not met yet. I've seen your picture many times. And my daughter and I and my wife, we always go near the end of the evening. And my daughter's not old enough to vote yet, but she always go in the booth with me. And she helps me with saying who she heard from her students and things of that nature, who to vote for, and at the end of the day. So when we pulled up and we were at the wrong site, you were at our old site, sitting in a lawn chair. I said, now see, this is the humility. Most of the night is over. Yep. Most of the people are gone, or their people are out there. Yep. But you were there. I think your husband was there, and there was a couple other people there. And when I walked by him, I said, I got her. I'm with her.
Yep.
She my soror. And I just walked in, and that's when I had to come back out and say, well, I got to go to the other place to go to where I'm going. But everything you said is indicative of what you did.
Yes.
And that's how you do it. You listen to God, and God gives you the direction, and he gives you victory.
Yes.
You don't come out smelling like the fire you've been through. You don't come out eaten by the lion that wanted to eat you up. And I think this is just awesome. And we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
And honestly, we're so proud of you that I was telling some friends of mine who are members of Omega that in this state, we have some very strong women.
Yes.
Not just Deltas, but I'm a Delta gent to it. And in the undergrad, before I pledged, I was one of those lovers of Deltas, you know. But I tell them right now we're in a position with all the power that's going down there, women too, at large. We should get some stuff done now.
We should get some stuff done. We will get some stuff done.
Okay, and that's what I'm hoping for, because for so long we've had men controlling everything. And being a male, I can say that without people trying to sue me. But for so long, men have taken their pride in being a male.
Yep.
But we have so many women down there now, so many African American women down there now, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the things that flushes out of this.
I am too.
And I think with you being there and the role that you're in, the 15th district. And you have a very good district too, by the way.
I do.
I know I live in that district, but the people is a very diverse group.
I do. Yeah.
And shockingly, they felt some of the stuff that I was feeling, because your humility drew some of us to you. Because we were faced with such arrogance in other areas. So what I'm hoping for as you are moving forward, that the prayer warriors who are praying for you, continue to pray for you. I'm also hoping that you continue to keep your door open so that we can continue to build the great things.
I can't do it without you.
And we can't do it without you, because you're in that seat now. And that's why we got to hold you up the best we can. I think this has just been great. I got one more commercial we're going to quickly take. And after we take this commercial break, we're going to come back. And I just want to at this time, I want to to just share some things with us and with you who are a part of our viewers. We'll be right back.
One more time before you wake up in the wild. In your eyes, I see a flower slowly dying.
Together with the Nature Conservancy, you have the power to make a difference. For unspoiled nature, for beautiful wildlife, and for people everywhere. Together, we can find a way to ensure that all life on Earth can thrive.
Oh, in the wild, you're gonna make it. The moonlight is here to take you.
Our natural world needs us now. Every day, we lose more lands, waters, and the wild species that depend on them. To learn more, visit nature.org today.
Hey, boss. Okay?
I said I'm fine.
Me to bed, see you in the morning. With the first date, Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
We are women first, but women with disabilities last.
During a military exercise, we crashed and I broke my neck.
When I was in the Air Force, an accident changed my life. I couldn't have imagined the injustices I would face.
Every day, women like me go to the doctor for annual checkups for conditions like breast cancer. Early detection saved my life. But women with disabilities face a cruel reality: inaccessible medical facilities and equipment.
In the 25 years since my injury, I have not seen a gynecologist. There's not one accessible OB/GYN in my community.
I found lumps in my breast. I went to a doctor's office I was told was accessible. But when I got there, I couldn't get through the front door.
I don't know where I'd be today without access to testing. Our veterans deserve better. Help PVA fight for access at pva.org.
Go to operationprevention.com and start the conversation today.
Breast cancer is the most common cancer in women. 1 out of 8, or 12% of women, will develop breast cancer in their lifetime. Unfortunately, Hawaii has one of the highest numbers of new cases of breast cancer. We're 6th out of the 50 states for a number of breast cancer cases. We know on average, 40 is the age at which we start with breast cancer screening. And sometimes we know that it's important to get early detection and screening. We have high-risk programs to do that.
I started getting mammograms in my early 30s because I have a family history of breast cancer. My mom and her mom both had been previously diagnosed, and I truly believe that it was that early annual mammogram that saved my life.
Andrew's story really helps to showcase how important it is to have early detection and screening and really tailor treatments and management according to that. It really also shows how brave she was to share about her story and personalize it, because we all know someone who's been affected by breast cancer.
Christopher Holton. I'm very active. It was a Saturday morning. Normally I go for my normal walk.
With no warning, Chris suffered a near fatal heart attack. But thankfully, Brian Buckley, a bystander, saw him collapse and rushed to help.
He did this big gasp for air and then just stopped. It's like I went into autopilot. It's like all that training I did back in the day around CPR just magically came out of nowhere.
Because of the CPR training that Brian received, Chris did make it and didn't die on the trail that day. CPR training provided by the American Heart Association.
Looking at your hands, these 2 hands could save a life.
Being a father, you want to be around. You want to be around for your kids.
Heart disease is America's #1 killer. To learn more about how the American Heart Association helps save lives, go to helpheart.org.
And we're back. I am just overwhelmed with joy, happiness. You know, Representative Smith, you don't know how many people sat in that chair. And I've had some good, great people. President of Lincoln University, President of Delaware State. I've had the first Black mayor for our city of Philadelphia, Sherelle Parker, who went to school with me. But today it's a special, and she's a Delta too, by the way. You know, my mind is moving fast. But today we come to this moment where in the state of Delaware, we have women, people who love people.
Yes.
That's what I'm sensing.
I love people.
We understand you're African American. We understand that you are part of the blended family and all that wonderful things. But just to have people who love people, and your agenda is people.
It's people.
Help me to understand some of the things that you are going to try to attempt to do while in office.
While in office, I've been thinking about this a lot, right? Because when you're campaigning, it's one thing, but when you get closer to it, you start to see other things, right? I want to stay engaged with the district. I want to make sure that I'm able to continue to have conversations because again, like I said in the previous segment, I can't do it without you, right? Like, so I can't get in the seat and then just take control of the seat and just do everything that I want to do. that's wild. Like you just can't do that. So I want to be able to do that. I want to stay connected. I want to meet individuals. Like I know that we have corporations and we have businesses, but I need to know the individuals of the district, right? And what are their legislative priorities? Right now, a lot of my time has been talking to companies, talking to leaders, which is great, right? Like which is great. I'm not making that any kind of disadvantage. But I want to know what the people say. I want to know what is important. You're in my district. What's important to you? Like, I want to know that. And yes, I did hear those things while I was knocking on the doors, but now I'm in the seat. How can I move? What is it what direction do you want me to move? So that's one thing that I want to do. Some things that I have my eyes on are the General Assembly being inclusive. And I'm just researching that right now. I'm not saying that the General Assembly is not inclusive, but seeing how inclusive we are. If we are passing bills and we're passing legislation, we have to include all the people. So people who are hard of hearing, right? Like we have to include that, right? Like, so why when we're doing, while we're on the floor, why isn't there someone interpreting that, right? Somebody needs to, they need to be involved in that. Or let's talk about our Spanish-speaking Delawareans, right? Like, how can we get our bills translated into different languages so it can be inclusive? That's the one thing that I've been having my eye on, because how can we hold someone accountable for a law that they can't understand? Right? How can we do that? I just don't think that that's inclusive. So I'm going to be looking at that to see how we can do that, and working with another legislator to see how we can do that. I also want to have some conversations about affordable living. We always talk about affordable housing, but it's one thing if we put someone in housing, but they can't afford it, but they can't live, right? Like we want to make sure that people can live in the houses that they get into. So how can we have more conversations about affordable living to make sure that people prosper in wherever they're living and that they have access to whatever it is that they have access to.
And if you don't mind if I just jump in there for 1 second, because that's a project I'm doing right now. And there are so many people who don't understand what you just said. Affordable housing and affordable living is two different things. We are in the process of building 10 units. When you came onto the campus, it's right across the street there, and we're about 60% done that project. And what we're doing is we're saying, okay, if your income is this amount, forget about what the medium of the community is. You have to be at a certain below poverty line to even apply for those houses. But if your income is a certain amount, 33% of that is what your rent will be, as opposed to 33% of the medium. Now we're at the riverfront, which made the medium go all high. Most people would not be able to afford it.
Right.
When we do our grand opening, you will get an invite, even though this is not your district, but you're very good friends with who district this is. And I want you to see how we've done this. They got elevators in them. It's beautiful. Everything is upgraded, even to the brick, as opposed to everything being vinyl and siding. And I didn't mean to take up any of this time, but I wanted to say that because when you said that, that has been one of my frustrations.
You teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
But we can't just keep giving fish. Like we have to teach the man to fish so that they can eat for a lifetime. Right. So when we put them in the housing units, we want to make sure that they can maintain those housing units. It's one thing to keep building and building and building, because we know Delaware's population is growing and growing and growing because we got a good thing here. Right. We do. Like for people to come here, it's because we have a good thing, but we need to maintain. There should be no reason, unless by choice, that we should see an unhoused person on the corner with a cardboard sign. Unless that's their choice, right? But they should have access and to be able to have some affordable living. The other priority for me is mental health access, and I'll tell you why. So I have worked in mental health for the majority of my professional career. I have done directed residential housing for individuals who have serious and persistent mental illness. Like when I say these people were sick, they were sick. So my objective and my goal was to maintain their safety as well as the community safety. So I'm pretty close to mental health and how to access supports, right? And how to navigate the system. But during the pandemic, I needed help, right? So I thought that I was okay, but then after a while, I was like, oh, this is happening a little longer than what I expected, and I need therapy. Like, I'm going to need to go through some therapy. I couldn't find it.
Wow.
Somebody that knows how to navigate the system, I couldn't find it, right? Like, so I started calling like my employee assistance program, which is an EAP, trying to get resources, and they kept giving me therapists that were involved in substance abuse.
Wow.
Well, I'm not looking for substance abuse. I'm looking for mental health. So if somebody, a lay person, didn't know how to navigate that, they would have just went to a therapist that was giving substance abuse, which would have wasted some time for them, which would have wasted some therapeutic moments for them, right? So that was like eye-opening for me. And I think that needed to happen, right? Here I am, somebody who should be able to navigate this, but I'm having a hard time. And I know the terms, like I know where to go. So I think it's not a matter of the stigma of mental health. It's a matter of accessing mental health. How can we get people to access mental health, right? Because we need it.
Yes, we do.
We need it. So those are some things that I wanna work on. I also want to just make sure that I understand. I want to have an understanding of what the General Assembly is and how I fit into the General Assembly.
You navigate better.
And how I navigate,
when you understand.
Who are the players? Who are the partners, right? And I am not one to take on somebody else's offense.
Thank you.
It's not my offense.
Now, this is the first time you ever heard and I'm not calling you a politician because I don't like that word.
Yeah.
But this is the first time you heard a public servant say that. But that is the truth of.
It's not my offense.
Really, at the end of the day, good.
It's not my offense.
Good.
You know, if someone had an interaction with someone that was not favorable, that's not my. Mine might be different.
Right.
So I'm going to have conversation with everybody.
Yeah. And the mere fact that you're sitting here is an indication of that, because I'm sure there's some down at the representative who are like, don't go to Curry. But the reality of it is, it's your offense is whatever happened with you or that other person is between them. I think that's awesome. Are there any committees that you're interested in being a part of?
Yes, I'm interested in housing.
Okay.
I'm also interested in health, of course.
Okay, yeah. So those are the areas. Now, when will they start doing the assignments? Is that after y'all are sworn in?
They haven't given us the date yet, but I know that it's in the works. I know that it's in the works.
Yeah. And do you have any mentors down there, any senators or representatives that you tend to cherish? I know you cherish all of them. We want to say that right away. But is there any that you really look at as more of a mentor?
I'm interviewing.
Okay.
Yep, I'm interviewing people now. They don't know that they're being interviewed.
No, I caught it. I know exactly what you're saying. You don't make hasty decisions.
No.
And I think the only way, and for you to stay married for 20 years, you have to have been able to just make decisions based on factual things as opposed to just going and jumping and doing what you have to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But what I would like to say to the people is, please reach out to me. I'm one person with a district of so many. So I want you to connect with me. Like, I want to reach out. I want to have those conversations. I would like in the summertime to do walks. So, walk and talk. Let's have some conversations. So that's something that's on the horizon for me.
You'll keep the hearts of the people if you do things like that. I mean, again, you have
and
a family.
Move.
And we are, those of us of your district understand that we all are busy. But to just get every once in a while, just if you say, I'm going to just take a walk and we're going to let your representative here and hearing from you. How do a person communicate with you through email?
Yes.
Can you give us your email address?
So my email address is Kamela, KAMELA.Smith at Delaware, DELAWARE.gov.
Okay, good, good. And you all will be in session starting in January. And I think y'all do a couple months and then y'all off, right?
Yeah, we do the whole January, and then I think we have some space in February.
Now, when you're not in session, you're still available.
Yes, absolutely.
So they can call, they can email that.
Absolutely.
Now, do you have a legislative assistant?
Yes, I do.
Does he or she have a email just in case they can't get to you? That you can.
They'll still be able to get to her through my email.
Okay, very good, very good. Because I just want to make sure. A part of this village I believe in is that we prayed for you, we voted for you, we wanted you, and we want to make sure that whatever we can do to support you. I want to say that to you now.
Absolutely.
Anything I can do in your district to support you, I'm never going to be a problem to you, but I want to be there to support you. And if I hear of something, I'll just call and say, listen, this is what I'm hearing, and you always give us the response. But I think that the people of your district is a very good district. We've been disappointed a little bit, and your spirit has calmed the Raven Sea, because things are going to get a little bit more ugly than it needs to. But I think now, as you're walking into this district, and you're a part of the district too,
Yes.
but as you're walking into this district, you're going to find that there are people who are very sane, and they're very ready to roll up their sleeves and help. We're not needy.
Okay.
We just want to make sure we're
Yeah,
recognized.
Yeah, and you want your voice to be heard
Yes.
at Legislative Hall.
Yeah. For some young lady who's watching us today, and I just, is there anything you could share with her? Now, I know we can say young man too, but
Yeah.
I'm very big on gender specific. So if there's some young ladies listening to us, is there something that you could just share with her to never quit, to just,
That's it.
Yeah, I'll
that's
give it to
it.
you.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Let me correct that. You will be afraid, but do it anyway. You will be afraid, and you will feel like you don't belong, but you have been chosen.
Yeah.
And to do it afraid. Just do it afraid. And make sure that you have a connection with whoever your higher power is, and just do it afraid. Do it afraid.
Right. Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, Nike gonna love you.
Yeah.
Just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, just do it.
Tell me again, how do I get your book? I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
I want to make sure this show, as we're going to keep showing it, and matter of fact, we might even do a commercial with it. But just tell me, how do I get the first one?
Sure. So you can go on Amazon. And when you go on Amazon, just hit in the search engine, A Heart That Forgives, Kamela Smith, it'll come right up. And then the other book is My Hair Day by Skylar Robinson and Kamela Smith, and that's also available on Amazon.
8-year-old and auntie. That's awesome. Well, it has been honestly my joy, my privilege, and this is not the last time that you're coming here, because I want you to come as much as you desire to come. But as we get into the season, there will be another. I guess you all run every 2 years. Oh yeah, well, you'll be right back out again. But if God has His hand on you, He's going. His assignments is His assignments. But anything we can do to support you, know that Zion Fair is here for you. This community of people, we're praying for you too.
Thank you.
And we believe you're gonna be all right.
Thank you.
Because as they say, you're Delta, and you're Delta strong. So one way or another, you're gonna come out
I'm
on
gonna
top.
come out on top.
Yes, yes. Is there any parting words you want to say before we go for the day?
Yes, just hold me accountable.
Yeah.
I'm human, and humans make mistakes. So hold me accountable. But I will guarantee that if I make a mistake once, I won't make a mistake twice.
Excellent. Excellent.
So, hold me accountable. Yeah.
Well, Representative Smith, let me say thank you again.
Thank you.
15th District for the state of Delaware. It's going to be joy, joy, joy. Thanks so very much.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Life can throw a lot at us, but what helps us through it is knowing we have a place where we feel loved, grounded, and safe. A place where we belong. A place called home. But for thousands of youth living on the streets, there's no such thing as home. Out here, it's a predatory world that can destroy lives forever. At Covenant House, we care for homeless and at-risk youth, working in communities just like yours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Here, these kids will get a shower, clean clothes, nourishing meals, and a safe place to sleep. Our caring staff teach life skills, offer stability, and encourage kids to believe in themselves so they stay off the streets for good. We're committed to giving lost, scared, and hurting children a place to go, a place to call home. To help or get help, go to safeplacetosleep.org.
The challenges our planet's animals are facing sometimes feel a bit heavy.
The animals haven't eaten in a day, 2 days, they haven't drank anything, they're cold, they're dehydrated.
As soon as we started our descent, everywhere I could see was mud. Just absolutely mud.
The country has been in prolonged drought for so long, it was like a tinderbox waiting to go up.
Okay, very heavy. Each of us wants to be part of the solution, and we can be. Remember that there's good happening right now. At home.
All right, we were able to get into your unit, and we have all 4 of your cats. So,
okay. And around the world. For any animal in any disaster. So let's focus on that, right? Be part of the solution, one rescue at a time. Search ifa.org/disaster ready.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
Smiles are powerful. A simple smile can light up a whole room. And for 25 years, Smile Train has been lighting up the world with smiles. And each smile marks a step towards a brighter future. As the world's largest cleft lip and palate charity, Smile Train has supported more than 2 million life-changing cleft surgeries in over 90 countries, leaving a legacy of resilience, joy, and beaming smiles for generations of children. To learn more about cleft lips and palates and how Smile Train is supporting the cleft community all over the world, please visit smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, lighting up the world with smiles for 25 years.
Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and anything you can do about it. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a real good conversation. I'm excited. Come on! Every Sunday at 11 a.m. Why don't you call somebody real quickly? Tell them Coffee with Curry is on. And let's get after it. And we're back. What a great show. I've been waiting for this show to occur. Blindly, I made sure I endorsed her without even telling her that she was endorsed by me. Many of you who watch the show know I endorsed her. But let me say this to you. She said some things that were very, very critical and crucial. She told us that even afraid, even with some doubt, she moved forward because there was an assignment on her life. It's important that you take those words serious. No mountain is so high, no valley is so low that you cannot get through it if God is giving you an assignment. For all too long, we have allowed people to just sit in positions, and the standard has been, this is just the way it is. Who will stand up and have the audacity of hope to be able to say, hey, I can do it better because God has his hand on my life. We know this is not a religious TV show and we respect everyone, but I am very impressed with the level of steepness she is in her faith because that's how she won. The theme of this show was, how did you unseat the Speaker of the House? Because when God gives you an assignment, nothing is impossible. I'm grateful. The links to her book will be on our sub screens today. You will get a chance to see all of that. I want us to get this book. Let's get it. Let's read it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get it. I'm going to read it. And then I'm going to see how we can have some conversations about it. I don't know what it's all about other than, the blended families, which she spoke of in our session. But this is going to be an opportunity for more conversation. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so very much for taking time to be with me today. Until the next time we get together, may the Lord God bless you real good.
Thank you for watching this episode of Coffee with Curry. Tune in next week, Sunday at 11 a.m.